evening folks, and welcome to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me this evening back in the studio where we're going to do something a little bit different this evening. Now normally I don't pass comment or make any judgment on other people's YouTube videos that are out there. But this evening I'm going to make an exception to that rule, because the video we're about to take a little look at in a minute is from my very first professional stalker / troll. Now, it'll come as no surprise that trolls have latched onto some of my anti-TV licensing videos. For every 10 or so people that come on and praise the videos, you always get one or two who come on and post rubbish like this.
What tremendous value the BBC licence fee is. I wish all the critics would stop whining about it. I would willingly pay £400 a year for mine.
Or comments such as this one.
Personally, I think the fee is far too low. I would willingly sell my house and all its contents to help the BBC.
Right then, without further ado, let's take a little look at his handiwork, shall we? Right, we'll stop the video there and I'll pass comment on his efforts so far. Now, the first thing that I notice, and it's a big no-no, is those black lines you've got going on down the side. Either side. It's very distracting. You need to get a full screen going on because it looks that bit more professional. So he asks at the end there, why was I blocked? Meaning from my channel. Let me think. Maybe it was something to do with the fact that he was being a dickhead and posting rubbish in the comments section, as we'll see from your screen grabs in a minute or two. Now, before I show you these screen grabs from the conversation that I had with him before I blocked him, I must explain to you that I refer to him as Mr Stafford, although his name on there is Drunken Stafford. The reason for that, which might not be apparent from the screen grabs, is the fact that he's one of the same. He has two accounts and he's come at me under both names. So I was calling him Mr Stafford just to gently show him that I knew who he was. So, let's take a look at this evidence that shows that I'm an evader, shall we? Mr Stafford / Drunken Stafford. I just hope your evidence is better than TV licensing's. So this is the first of his screen grabs from his video. And this is supposed to be evidence that I'm an evader. So we'll just go through it, shall we? Now, his opening line to me, under the name Drunken Stafford, was FFS, just pay it. Which I assume to mean, for fuck's sake, just pay it. So I replied to him, rather politely, I think, under the circumstances. Why should I pay for a service that I do not use? Do you tell cyclists and pedestrians, FFS, just pay the road tax? Seems that you've answered my last question to you, Mr Stafford, regarding if your interest in this subject is professional or casual, by changing your name and making the stupid comment as the one above. I've always suspected that you were a b-boy who trolls YouTube for anti-TV licensing videos just so that you can post pro-BBC type comments on them to try and wind the channel owner up. Busted, pal, and time to move on to the next channel, as you'll not get a rise out of me. Just ask your pal Roger Allison. He then ignores all that and replies rather weakly to me by saying, cyclists and pedestrians don't get letters asking to pay road tax. So that's the first piece of evidence for the prosecution. Quite how that proves that I'm a TV licence evader, only he seems to know. But fear not, there's more evidence on the way, so let's take a look at that second screenshot, shall we? So this is the second piece of evidence for the prosecution, submitted by Mr Stafford / Drunken Stafford. And this piece of conversation is from towards the end where I was ready to block him, as you can probably tell from the screenshot in front of you. So I state, just to clarify, before I block you, Mr Stafford, I note that you haven't corrected me or denied that you are both one of the same, that you are actually advocating that I and others out there in the UK who do not watch or record live TV broadcasts or stream or download TV programmes from the BBC iPlayer and thus are not legally required by law to hold a TV licence should just go out and get one anyway, even though they don't need one. Now that's a direct question, it just simply requires a yes or a no answer. But again, he decides to give me a load of waffle and sidestep the question that I've asked him by stating, always the same these echo chamber channels, when someone disagrees they hit the block button. It's confirmation bias. TV licensing are the people you should contact, as they are sending you these letters. You claim you don't need one. Are you prepared to invite them around then? Thought not. Bye. And he's put a lot of exclamation marks behind thought not and bye. Jesus wept. I'm sorry, but I fail to see how this conclusively proves that I'm a TV licence evader from the evidence that you've submitted so far. I hope your last bit of evidence that you're going to show us, to that classic pub rock riff where you state I rely on loopholes, is going to clinch it for you, because so far it's not looking good for you, is it? And it's looking like case dismissed. So let's get into that last bit of evidence. Hopefully you can pull it round, but I doubt it. Right then, let's take a look at the prosecution's final piece of evidence, shall we, before we do our summing up. And this should prove once and for all if Mr H is a dirty TV licence evader or not. So, here we are at the prosecution's final piece of evidence. Apparently this is the smoking gun that's going to hang Mr H. And it's a screenshot taken from a conversation that I had with one of my regular posters, a fellow by the name of Casper1240. Hello Casper, by the way, I hope you're doing alright, mate. You've got a bit of a cameo in one of my videos. And Casper commented, rather politely, by saying, good advice as per Mr H. I replied, you know it makes sense, Casper, hope you are well. He replies, middling mate, middling. That was the end of that bit of a conversation. Then a couple of days later, Mr Stafford decides he'll jump in and proudly claim, this is not good advice. Now, what Mr Stafford hasn't put in there is one of my replies to him, which ran along the lines of challenging him to give us his advice, seeing as mine's so poor on how to deal with TV licensing. Now, he did reply to that, in fairness to him, but of course it was in his usual waffling way, where he says a lot, but means nothing. And he replies by saying, you're obviously a fan of loopholes, Mr H. For every £1 taken in licence fee payments, just 3p is spent on collections. Part of the fee also contributes to the UK broadband rollout, funding local TV channels and S4C, the Welsh language TV channel, as was agreed with the government as part of the 2010 licence fee settlement. So Mr H, and in brackets he puts Hitler, he, trying to be a little bit funny there and inject a bit of humour, nothing wrong with that I suppose, put those big feet up, put on the telly and drift away, big boy. So folks, as he says there at the end of his video, there rests his case. What do you guys think? Do you think he proved without a shadow of a doubt that I'm a dirty TV licence evader? I somehow don't think his evidence will hold up in a court of law. But what he has proved to me is the length some people will go to if you dare to criticise our national broadcaster. Because in their eyes, they can do no wrong, no matter how heinous the crime. Righty-tighty, I'm out of here. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. Please don't be going over to Mr Stafford's channel, or indeed Drunken Stafford's channel, giving him any kind of grief. It's not worth it. Just leave him to his worship of the BBC, trolling other people's channels and being a sad git. I've had a bit of fun with this one. Hopefully you've had a bit of fun too. I'm Mr H, I'm out of here, so until the next time, bye bye for now.